focus on the 6 keys to wealth. But tonight, I want to talk about efficacy. I want to talk about that tonight. When you're facing a challenge, do you ever feel like you can rise to the occasion and accomplish that goal, right? Or do you feel defeated? All right. So y'all drop some feedback in the chat box. Has there been times you felt defeated? You felt discouraged? Like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this goal done, or it just feel like the gap between your vision and the time it's taking to get there. You may feel a little discouraged sometimes, right? It's natural. It's human. It happens to us, right? So, but we want to stay in that mindset where I know I can, I know I can, I know I can. Or do you doubt your abilities to rise and overcome those difficulties when adversity is thrown your way? All right. So if you tend to keep going in the face of adversity, in the face of those obstacles, then you probably have a high degree of self-efficacy. All right. And that's an essential part of your self-esteem. Okay. So self-efficacy really means the individual's belief in their ability or capacity to execute certain behaviors, certain tasks, certain skill sets to achieve a goal. All right. So, somebody can look at you. Some of you guys, a lot of you guys on this call, you have special gifts, you have special abilities and talents. You guys may be good at construction, architect, fashion, music, just being great at communicating with people, right? And somebody else can look at you as a threat. They can feel insecure, and which is ignorance, because if you truly have a relationship with God and understands his role in your life, then you just are unaware of the role you play and the role he plays in your life. But honestly, when you look at other people and their strengths and their abilities, you never want to feel discouraged. I always tell people, don't compare, don't compete, and don't complain. Just create, because there's room in this universe for us all to create. God gave us all infinite abilities. So you always want to operate in this knowingness that I can do it. I can do all things, right? So you have to understand the difference between self-efficacy and self-esteem. So self-efficacy is the ability to succeed, is your ability of knowing that you can succeed, is how you feel that you can succeed in different situations. Your self-esteem is more so your self-worth, your value. Okay. So the efficacy can increase your self-esteem because you're completing tasks, your environment, your relationships and stuff like that. It definitely has a physiological, psychological toll on you. All right. It also plays a role in how you think and how you behave and how you feel. So your confidence in knowing that you can complete a task, it will affect your schoolwork, your relationships, your health, your wealth. You have to believe that you can do it. If you believe that you can do it, y'all drop some do it's in the chat box for me. All right. Drop some do it's in the chat box. All right. Self-efficacy strongly influences both the power a person actually has to face. All right. It deals with your competency of your ability to face challenges and the choices that you're going to make. It encompasses your confidence in yourself, how you control your behavior, your influence over your environment, how you pursue certain goals, how you stay motivated in the pursuit of certain goals. All right. It determines what goals you even pursue. All right. Because if you feel confidence, if you know that you have this ability, then you'll go out there and pursue any type of goal. Right. I always tell people that's where your spiritual development comes in, because you have to understand, if God gives you all the desires of your heart, your role is to simply have faith and to have it as a desire. See, if it's not a desire, it's not in your heart. If it's simply a want, it's on the outside. But when it's a desire, it's in the spiritual plane. It comes from here first in your thoughts. That's where you and God are having that communication. He's feeling your vibrations. He's feeling your desire. He's feeling your work ethic. He's feeling this obsession that you have to complete it. He said, you know what? I got to go over there because I feel this magnetic attraction to my child who wants me to complete this task on their behalf. So that's why you have to understand your abilities, but also have a level of understanding of God's role in your life, so you don't feel discouraged, so you don't have low self-esteem, so you don't deal with depression. And that's why it's good to have that relationship. Y'all feeling me? Talk to me, right? So your self-efficacy, it promotes human accomplishment, your personal well-being, right? You view challenges. All right, so y'all listen to this. When you have high self-efficacy, remember, it means your individual belief in your ability to get something done. Okay. So when you have a high level of it, you view challenges as things that are supposed to be mastered rather than threats to avoid. Okay. You view challenges as things that are supposed to be mastered than things that are supposed to be avoided. These people recover from failure faster and are more likely to attribute failure to a lack of effort. You course correct, you sit back, you analyze. I always tell people, when you're looking at failure, don't look at it as the end all. It is, okay, if I had a failure, then what that means is I need to course correct. What do I need to make an adjustment on? I tell people all the time, we've put failure in its own category, but failure is life. The most simplest metaphor I can give you is if you ever bought a bag of popcorn for the first time, you put that popcorn in the microwave, you don't follow the instructions and you burn the popcorn, you got the house smelling all funky. Well, you failed at popping a bag of popcorn. Has anybody ever burnt a bag of popcorn before? Yes or no? Whether you did it with the oil in the kernels, or whether you put a bag of popcorn in the microwave, smelled up the building. All right. Okay. So you just had a failure. So what do you do next time? You go back and say, okay, well, wait a minute. Let me see what time I put it on. Let me see how big this bag is. You go back and course correct. You make an adjustment. That's how you have to observe every single desire and goal that you have in your life. As you just burnt a bag of popcorn, you stunk up the whole joint. There we go. You stank up the whole joint. So now let me go back and make a modification. All right. And that's okay. So when you have failure, guys, don't look at it as the end all, just make an adjustment. All right. You approach threatening or adverse situations with the belief that you can control them. Okay. Why? Because I got God within me first and foremost. Anybody got God within, drop some ones in the chat box. All right. Because that's all I'm about. You first understand when you're facing adversity, you're facing challenges, you don't have to hoop and holler. Just say, you know what? Okay, God, it's your turn. That's all you got to say. I do it all the time. When I'm facing adversity, people don't ever see me looking crazy or upset about anything. I just say to myself, okay, God, it's your turn, because I know my limits. I know my capabilities. I know what I'm capable of doing. So if I can't do no more, guess who got to show up? All right. So you got, okay, God, it's your turn. All right. So understand your belief is how you can control them. And your awareness is knowing God is going to step in on your behalf, is going to intercede on your behalf. All right. Now, if you don't know that, that's why you probably deal with depression. You deal with low self-esteem. You deal with lack of confidence, because there's no relationship. And you have to be careful what you're pouring into yourself. Okay. Difficult tasks, they look at them as skills rather than the ones, when they're dealing with difficult tasks, they look at the skills that they have rather than the skills that they don't have. It's easy for people to lose faith in their own abilities after failure if they deal with low self-efficacy. Okay. So the key points you guys want to understand: who is somebody who has a high sense of self-efficacy, right? They develop a deeper interest in activities in which they're participating. Okay. They form a strong sense of commitment to their interest in activities. They recover quickly from setbacks and disappointments, and they view challenging problems as tasks to be mastered. Okay. They view challenging problems as tasks to be mastered in adversity. You're going to be stretched. All right. You're going to be stretched. So God has to stretch you. You're asking, you guys got to understand, when you're asking for increase, when you're asking for better life, when you're asking to be removed from things or to have access to things, God has to mold you into a new being. So if you take a piece of clay, that piece of clay has to be stretched. It has to be molded. God has to mold you into a certain shape, a certain individual. You have to have a better attitude. You have to have better patience. So he's going to send adversity to you because you prayed for something that's going to require you to have a certain level of patience. So the things that you faced in your past, they haven't prepared you for what you're praying for. So he has to send some more adversity and some more challenge to you so you can have it. So when you're praying, don't think it's just going to be smooth all the time. All right. Be like, listen, all right, God, I'm going to pray for this thing. I'm ready for whatever you about to throw my way. All right. The book of James always talks about, I love James. I hear me talk about that a lot. When he says, welcome adversity, welcome challenges, because it creates patience. And patience is, I just told a friend of mine the definition of patience, which means your ability to tolerate or accept trouble, suffering, and adversity without being angry or upset. So he tells you, I'm going to send adversity your way, and you got to be prepared to develop your level of patience. All right. Now, who is somebody who has a weak self-efficacy? They avoid challenging tasks. They don't want to do the work. They believe that it's difficult and the situation is beyond their ability. Okay. Remember, when you do have high self-efficacy, you believe you can do it, whether you go learn on Google, whether you ask for help, whether you bring somebody in to show you the way. At the end of the day, you can overcome that situation. They focus on personal failings and negative outcomes. They reevaluate, they assess what's going on, and they quickly they focus on personal failures and negative outcomes, a person with low self-efficacy, and they lose confidence in their personal abilities. All right. But how in the world do you develop it? All right. How do you develop it? Well, And you really have to go back down. Somebody say back down memory lane. So you got to go down into your childhood and first establish the environments, the situations, the experiences that you've dealt with, to analyze what to analyze the level of belief that you do have. What in your childhood and in adulthood as well has what level are you? Are you a high or are you low? All right. And you need to just retrace your memory and see, okay, how did I start thinking so much in a space of lack? Why did I start not believing? Like, where did that come from? And you want to retrace that, and you want to replace that. You want to replace that memory or replace that with a newfound development of personal growth, personal development, affirmation, speaking life into yourself. Okay. But it usually comes from various tasks and situations that you've dealt with. And then when you've dealt with new skills and experiences. And so the four major sources of it comes from, the first is called mastery experiences. And it's when you have performed a task successfully and it strengthens your confidence. It strengthens your knowingness that you can achieve something, right? However, if you don't have the right perspective, when you do face adversity, you're gonna beat yourself up about it. All right. There's been times I beat myself up about certain things as well. So we have to talk to her like, listen, you got to tighten up. All right. You know, it's going to be challenging. You know, things are going to happen that's out of your control. Why are you acting like this is not the norm? Okay. And then I have that conversation with myself and I fix it. All right, we're good. All right. So you have to understand, if you don't have the right conversation with yourself, because the words you speak to yourself in private are the most important things that will ever be spoken to you. The things you say to yourself in private. Think about all this mental illness that people are dealing with, depression. It's what we're literally just speaking death into ourselves. We're not speaking light. We're not around the light. And all we do is feed ourselves this toxic energy and expecting to feel better instead of either going to prayer, going to church, or just finding some positive growth community to make sure we keep the light beaming on the inside. All right. So when you're facing adversity or a task or a challenge, you undermine and you weaken your self-efficacy, because that's what you begin to believe. So it's very, very important you have the right perspective. It's also important about the people, the environments that you're around. And when you're looking at people, when you're observing people, you have to be very careful when you're dealing with social media. You're witnessing people are completing the same task as you. All right. They're doing it with sustained effort. And they're doing it with the sustained effort, and that should develop your level of confidence. It should develop your belief system, because you understand that you guys have the same abilities to succeed. All right. Remember, no comparing, no completing, no complaining. We only create. If you compete, compare, and complain, that is your ignorance to God's role in your life, because that means you're saying there's not room for us all to succeed. If you begin to feel a sense of jealousy, if somebody has what you have, you say, God, thank you, I have that too. God, thank you for showing me this evidence that I can achieve what it is that you want in my life, because you just bless somebody else with it. So when you're seeing other people, the thing you need to be most admiring is, what did they do to get there? A lot of times it's just consistency. I look at people all the time and say, bro, y'all, we want certain things. And ultimately, it's because we're lazy. We don't get things because we're just lazy. Anybody been lazy before? Drop some tools in the chat boxes. Somebody drop some tools for me. If you don't want to drop it for yourself, drop it for me. All right. Anybody been lazy before? Drop some tools in the chat box. All right. And you gotta be quick with it. Be like, listen, I gotta tighten up. I done slacked off. Right. I'm back in the gym. I've been out of the gym like 2 or 3 months. I didn't even know that much time had passed. Right. Now I'm looking like, Bambi right now, because I'm suffering the consequences of not a sustained effort, right? So we got to sustain those efforts. It's the simple things compounded over time. You also have to be aware of your communication, your social persuasion. When you're getting verbal encouragement from other people, it helps you to overcome self-doubt, and it helps you to focus on giving your best effort and completing the task at hand. Consider the time when somebody gave you some words of encouragement to help you achieve a goal. My mom is one of the people I call quick. Mom, listen, I'm beating myself up right now. All right. Sometimes I beat myself up because just of something I did that I know I shouldn't have done. Right. Usually it's dealing with trading. But ultimately, you got to have somebody that you can call on. All right. Somebody call on. And of course, we're going to call on Jesus. We're going to call on God. And just for protection and health and wealth and grace and mercy. But you also want to have somebody you can call on. You say, listen, I just need you to pour into me right quick. Hey, can you give me some advice? Hey, I need a booster. All right. And that's okay, but make sure you have somebody there for you. And then psychological responses, your moods, your emotional state, your physical reactions, your stress levels, it all impacts your personal abilities about a particular situation. All right. So if you're not feeling your best, all right, then that's going to be an indication on how well you are going to execute certain things. A person, when they become nervous and they're doing public speaking or a new job, that how they feel, those psychological responses, it affects how they're going to perform or execute. So we all have to do this assessment, and I'm almost done. Okay, we have to do an assessment. Do you feel you can handle problems if you're willing to work hard and be consistent? Okay. Do you feel you can handle problems is question number one. Question number two is, are you confident in your ability to achieve the goal? That is what self-efficacy is. It is me knowing my ability to achieve goals. I have the belief that I can achieve a goal. All right. Do you feel, question number three, do you feel you can manage unexpected events that come up? Are you reactive or do you respond? When you're reactive, you react like a 2-year-old. When you respond, you have a mature attitude about it, and you welcome adversity, you welcome challenges, and you don't flip out about it. You say, well, again, God, it's your turn. All right. When there's things that happen out of my control, I get so excited because I know it's a new testimonial that's about to prevail. I know God's glory resides in that space, because if it's out of my control, I can't do nothing else. God, it's your turn. Y'all drop that in the chat box. God, is your turn. Right? You got to get that in your brain. That's got to be your first response when you start dealing with adversity. God, it's your turn. I believe in what I can do, but God, is your turn. Right? So you have to be aware of what's out of your control. Okay. So please understand that God, is your turn. Put that on a t-shirt or, a gold card. Just keep it in front of you. God, is your turn. All right. Do you feel like you can come up with solutions when you are facing a problem? Okay. Do you feel like you can come up with solutions? Are you able to bounce back fairly quickly after adversity, after challenges? Do you keep trying even when things seem difficult? That's called perseverance. Do you keep trying even when things seem difficult? Listen, I just tried to run on that treadmill tonight. It was difficult. All right. Come on, B. You can do it. I'm in there yelling at them, come on, right? I wanted to hit 2 miles and I did. Thank you, Jesus. All right. Alice with my legs out, so walking like a baby. Are you going to stay calm in the face of chaos? Do you perform? When people see, sometimes people think it as you being nonchalant. Man, you act like you don't care. Y'all had somebody say, man, you act like you don't care. You ain't saying nothing. You ain't doing nothing. I don't have to raise hell in order to show that I care. I understand wisdom. I have the wisdom of God. And he told me, listen, stand still. I got you, shorty. I got your back. All right. So you don't have to act a fool and have this whole circus reaction to show that you care. When there's calmness, your belief should sustain. All right. Your belief should surpass all of that craziness that you're doing. Okay. Do you perform well under pressure? Do you tend to focus on your progress rather than getting overwhelmed by all the things you have to do? All right. So you have to focus on your progress. I told somebody the other day, I said, hey, you never want to get in a space where you're, let's say you want to save $200, right? And your goal is to save $200 in 30 days and you only save $50. And I say, hey, congratulations on saving $50. I know, man, but I really just want to get to 200. You do not want to diminish your praise report by allowing yourself to be so focused on the end goal. So many people do that. You don't celebrate the small wins. All right. You got to celebrate every win. Maybe you wanted to work out 30 minutes and you only did 5. Celebrate the 5. All right. Everything is a compound effect. All right. So self-efficacy is my belief in knowing that I can achieve certain abilities and certain tasks. And most of all, I want you guys to understand that if you ever feel doubt, if you ever feel discouraged, that is why it's so important to know how God resides in your life and his role in your life. Get in relationship, because when you put your faith and you put your trust in him and you have understanding of his glory, y'all ever had some stuff, you ever had some craziness going on in your life? You ever had some adversity? Maybe it was finance, wealth, health, sports, I'm not sports, your job, your career, and you didn't know how you was going to get out of that challenge. You didn't know how you was going to get out of that situation. Your back was against the wall. It's like, guy, you got to show up now, bro. I can't do nothing. Right. And he showed up on time. Has he ever showed up on time for you? Like all the time. So when people are battling with that disbelief, you cannot forget God. You can't only remember him at high times. You got to remember him every single time he showed up in your life. All right. Maybe there was gas in the car, paying the bill, keeping you protected from a car wreck, so anything like that. Right. You got to understand to remember his power within you. And it's going to improve your self-efficacy and your self-esteem because, you know, you're not in this alone. All right. He's won your battles. He's opened these doors. He's healed your body. He's protected you from the enemy. You got that promotion. He's covered your finance. He's removed you from toxic people, or you've been removed from people that you don't need in your life. He's protected you from the enemy. He's protected from people who are trying to take things from you. All things are possible, family. So understand your self-efficacy is your belief in knowing that you can achieve things, but back that belief with knowing that God has a role in your life. All right. Remember, it's your turn, God. All right. So you have to understand it. And when you marry the two, when you marry your ability with his ability, all right, his power, do you understand there's nothing that you cannot achieve? Do y'all understand that? Yes or no in the chat box? When you marry your ability, you got to be aware of all that you can do. And you also have to be aware of what you cannot do so that he can intercede. And when y'all marry, you can co-creating and creating these things. Guess what? You can do anything that you want to do, but you cannot allow lack. You cannot allow toxic situations, allow toxic conversations, toxic music, toxic information to infiltrate your mind, your body, and spirit. I tell people all the time, y'all gonna go home tonight. Y'all gonna wash your crusty toes, your crusty elbows. You're gonna brush your teeth. But what people don't do is wash their mind from toxic things that they're sucking in all day. All right. You're going to, whether you heard it, whether you watched it, or whether somebody blowing your phone up trying to gossip, you have to protect your eye gates and your ear gates. Because I promise you, when you begin to pour the light within you guys, life is so easy. Life is so peaceful. And you just got to stay. A lot of times you're going to be alone in that space. And that's why we have generational wealth, so that we all can, stay a family and stay together in a growth community, in a positive community. So if you're ever facing adversity and you're feeling down and you need some prayer, you just need a booster, we got your back. All right. I hope y'all got some value tonight. All right. It's your turn, God, is the hashtag. If y'all got some value, drop some love in the chat box. Talk to me, baby. Talk to me. I'm going to drop the Generational Wealth Telegram link in the Zoom chat box. All right. And you guys can plug in. That's the link right there. It's nothing but positive stuff. So don't be coming out with no craziness or we're going to boost you out. All right. It's only light. It's only love. It's only positivity. Okay. I appreciate you guys. Y'all go to the GW chat and drop the hashtag. It's your turn, God. It's your turn, God. Your gifs, whatever you want. And I'm going to see y'all next Tuesday, 9:00. I will upload the playback and drop that tomorrow morning. Y'all have an amazing night and understand you can do whatever you want. Let's get it.